Hello, my name is Doug Weeks. I'm a digital forensics student in the graduate program at Sam Houston State University. This is my presentation for my final paper, the title of which is Physical Security Design of a Digital Forensics Lab. What I'm going to cover in this presentation is a brief background on me, and then I'll cover the 4 sections that I have included in my final paper, which are the introduction, the general guidelines, the recommended solutions, and then finally the conclusion. Some background on me. This is my first course in the Digital Forensics Master's Program at Sam Houston State University. This is my first term and my first course in this field. I do not have a background in digital forensics. This is a new field for me. My background is primarily in the physical security field, and that encompasses the last 11 years that I've been in that field. And the work in that 11 years has included system design work, doing some investigations. I do have some limited work with the companies I've worked for, their digital forensics teams, doing some video investigations and those types of things. So I do have a little background with that, and then also some management responsibilities in the physical securities field, particularly around managing a guard force. So that's my background and what I brought into this paper. The paper itself I've divided into 4 sections. The first section that I included, as you would typically see through paper, is the introduction. My basic introduction on this is, again, my paper is the physical security design of a digital forensics lab. And I base that because when you look at digital forensics, credibility is a very, very important topic. And it's probably the most important thing that we need to be concerned with, or that we need to maintain as digital forensics investigators. Keeping our credibility is paramount. If we begin to lose credibility with our coworkers or anyone in the courts, it can not work well for us. So our credibility is very important, and a key part of that credibility is protecting the evidence that's been entrusted to us. This can begin as soon as we arrive on the scene, and continue on, as we process the evidence at the scene, and carries on, as we take the evidence back to our labs. Carries on as we're going through our investigation, right till the completion of the case. So protecting our evidence is a big area and a wide arena to talk about. And a major portion of that, or a major concern, could be a major concern, is our labs. That's where we do most of our work. We go to the scene, look at the evidence, gather the evidence, but most of the work that we'll be doing on the on the case is back at the lab. So we need to make sure we're protecting that lab as best we can. And so what I'll do going through here is I'm going to walk you through some general guidelines I reviewed when putting this paper together. And then based on what I've learned over the years as far as physical security system design, I'm going to give you what my recommended solutions are to best protect your lab, and I'm going to cover it in seven different areas. And I think it'll give you a lab that is very well protected and very efficient to your operations. So the general guidelines that I reviewed, the general guidelines that are out there that tell you how to protect your lab, how to set up your physical security for your lab, they really only provide you the minimum requirements. It's really like any government regulation that you see. It gives you the minimum requirements, and then it's all left up to you to figure out how to meet that requirement. So, it's not the most efficient, it's not the most secure. It just gives you the bare bones, the basic. This is, the minimum requirements of what you need to do, and kind of then leaves it up to you to figure out how you're going to do that. So the 4 aspects of guidelines that the authors talked about as I did my research, there are 4 aspects that they typically covered. First was securing the perimeter doors and evidence lockers. Next was the electrical requirements of your security system. And then it talked about CCTV coverage, or that it's your security cameras. And then the operational security part, like what happens, if you do have an alarm on your security system, those types of things. So those are the 4 areas that they typically require, that they talked about. And then, like I said, if you design the security system for your lab based solely on these general guidelines and these minimum requirements that they give you, you're going to have a very inefficient system. And you're also going to have a system that may not provide you with the best or most worthwhile protection. So you need to go above and beyond usually the general guidelines a little bit. So I've broken my recommended solutions down into 7 categories. I'll flip back and forth between slides here for a second. We're going to cover access control, CCTV, evidence lockers, cabinets, motion detectors, visitor management system, key control systems, and audits. And breaking them 7 categories down is access control. This is simply how do you process people into and out of your lab and into and out of your storage lockers and containers. Typically, the general guidelines just tell you need to have them locked, and that could work for you. A better solution is to have electronic access control, whether it be card reader, where you've got an ID card and PIN code to get into the door or into the locker. So it is electronic and can be traced and tracked. Talking about the CCTV security system or camera system, kind of best practice with your security cameras is to make sure every entrance into your facility are covered by a fixed security camera. So that camera is focused strictly on that door to give you video footage of the person's leaving or entering your room, as well as your evidence lockers and cabinets. You should have a fixed camera on each cabinet so you can see who is entering those cabinets. The evidence lockers and cabinets themselves, again, like the entry doors, the general guidelines will tell you to just have them locked. Again, that's not the most efficient, that's not the most secure method. A better method and newer technology that's out there now allows you to put electronic access control on evidence lockers and cabinets, just as on your entry doors. So you can have a traceable, auditable electronic log files of who goes into and out of your lab. Motion detectors. Motion detectors can provide you a backup system in case your card readers stop working and you're not able to receive an alarm on the door if someone enters the door without badging correctly. If you have motion detectors in the lab that are active after hours, you can see who goes into your lab. Visitor management system. This is would be tied into your access control system and set up as an electronic means to sign in and sign out your visitors. So your visitors' records, instead of being on a piece of paper stored in a file cabinet, they're stored electronically in a database and can be audited. Key control system. Again, you need to have a backup system in case your card readers go down and you can't get in with your card readers. Backup system would be using a key. So there are now electronic access control systems for storing keys. So again, you can have your system tracked and audited electronically in a database. And that all leads into the last one, is audits. We're doing more and more audits, and I see us continuing to do more and more. So having all these systems electronic in one database allows you to easily audit your system and run reports to see who has access to your system and when. So in conclusion, simply following the general guidelines is not enough. It causes you unnecessary work. If you just follow the general guidelines, you're going to have a lot of paper copies of who accesses your workspace and when. You have to store all that. If you get the electronic system, you can have it all recorded electronically and run easy reports off that. So if you take the time to design your system correctly the first time, you can integrate the system, get all the components working together as one, get everything stored in one database, get all your electronic logs in one system so you can run reports and see who accesses your system quickly and easily, and also keep updated. We update ourselves on the latest digital forensic trends. We need to do the same thing on our security trends to keep our lab protected. And that is a overview of my paper, and I thank you for taking the time to listen, and thank you and have a good day.